Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Everyday Wellness with Nurse Bev. I'm Bev Mazza, an integrative and functional nurse and the host of this podcast. First, I want to say how grateful I am to Westborough TV for reaching out to me and asking if I'd be interested in creating a health and wellness program for this community. It was truly something I was really thrilled to say yes to because educating and empowering people around health is something I feel incredibly passionate about. So in today's episode is really going to be about helping you get to know who I am, what I'm about, and what you can expect from this show moving forward. So before we dive in, I thought that sharing a little bit of my background of where I've been and what I've done in my nursing career would be really helpful. So I lived in Westborough for the past 17 years, and I have two kids in the Westborough school systems, a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. So this community has truly been a home for our family for a long time now. So I've been a nurse for about 10 years now, but nursing was actually a second career for me. Before becoming a nurse, my background was in psychology and public health, and my first job out of college was actually doing clinical oncology research at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. After that, I transitioned and spent almost a decade working in veterinary medicine as a veterinary technician, and actually much of that time was spent right up the road here in Grafton at Tufts Veterinary School. And that whole experience really taught me so much about health and physiology and just the importance of whole person care. And it was in the context of learning about animals, but also caring for the humans that love them. And at that time, I just decided I would go back to school to become a nurse. And I went back with a very clear intention that I wanted to practice very holistically and very integratively. Meaning I was really just interested in that big picture of health and how we combine conventional medicine with like lifestyle, nutrition, movement, stress management, and all the ways that we need to support our body from within. So I really saw myself as being that bridge. And in my early nursing years, I started off in bedside nursing, working in cardiac neuro, and that was a crazy, incredible experience, which really gave me a strong foundation in nursing and really understanding sort of the ins and outs of healthcare and the hospital system. But I knew I wasn't going to stay there. I really wanted to be more supporting people on the prevention side. And so I transitioned into a concierge practice that was primary care and got to do a lot of patient education and really enjoyed being in that space for about 5 years. But as I deepened my own education and professional development, I really studied a lot more of integrative health and functional medicine. I transitioned into a concierge primary care practice where I'm able to actually be their lead integrative nurse and support patients really through a whole person lens. Alongside that work, I also run a telehealth-based practice called Purely Present Health, where I support women navigating perimenopause and menopause, particularly around their metabolic health, prediabetes, insulin resistance, and weight management. And some of you may know me from the work I've been doing in this community over the past year through the Integrative Health Speaker Series, which I launched last fall here in Westborough. So that series really brings experts together every other month, and we talk about topics in women's health through an integrative and functional lens. And this has been a really wonderful way to bring these conversations into the community and have women really start to explore all these different resources that are available to them. So in many ways, this podcast is really a natural extension of the work that I have been doing out in the community. And one of the reasons I was so excited to create the show is because over the many years I've had in healthcare now, I just see how confused everybody feels with so much information out there. Everyone's hearing one thing from social media and then another thing from a friend and then another thing maybe from their primary care doctor and something different from their specialists. And a lot of times they just tell me like they don't know how to piece it together. They don't know what's true. They don't know what's applicable for them. And sometimes it just leaves them feeling like I don't even know what to do next, or I can't do anything. It's just pure overwhelm. And I really know that people are really trying and they want to feel better. They want more energy. They want to understand what's going on in their bodies. They really want to make good decisions for themselves and for their families. But instead, it's just feeling really unclear, and they end up with so much information and maybe not really knowing where to take action. And that's a big part of why doing the show felt really important to me, because one thing that is really clear to me as I work as a nurse is that our health is shaped by all those things that we're doing day in and day out that sometimes don't even feel that important. Everything from what we're eating to how we're moving our bodies, or sometimes if we're not moving our bodies, how we're sleeping, quantity, quality of our sleep, how are we handling our stress, our mental and emotional health, what our relationships look like, and our sense of connection, our sense of community that we feel, and the everyday patterns that just really influence like how we're feeling over time. So this is really what the show is going to be about, and about creating conversations around these topics. So conversations that help us really step back, look at the bigger picture, and better understand the many things that shape our health in everyday life. So I like to think of this as a health ecosystem. So just like in nature, where everything is connected, our health also works in a very similar way. So all of these pieces interact with each other, and over time they shape how we feel and how we function and how well our bodies are able to adapt to the many demands of our everyday life. And what I find really encouraging is that many of these influences are actually things right within our reach, and they're small, and they can really make big shifts in meaningful ways. When I was asked to come up with a show concept and a title for the show, it felt a little bit overwhelming. As a nurse, there's, so many different aspects of health that I love to talk about. And I was just kind of like, what is going to be most applicable for everybody, for everyone in the community across many different ages? And I chose it very intentionally, the title Everyday Wellness, because I wanted the name of the show to really reflect that reality that our health is shaped by what we're doing every day. Small things. So it's not just what's happening in our doctor's visits. It's not our hospitalizations, the major health events, but the everyday things that often sometimes get overlooked and aren't necessarily always emphasized as so important and so foundational to true health. How we're eating and sleeping and moving and managing our stress, connected to others in our community and our environment. So to me, that's what everyday wellness really means. It's a broader, more real life view of health. And that's exactly the kind of conversations I want the show to hold. So I'm going to share a little bit about what some of these episodes are going to look like. So we're going to have some solo episodes with just me. As a nurse, my main focus is on sort of integrative, holistic and functional approaches to cardiometabolic health. I do a lot with blood sugar regulation and weight health. But I love talking about every aspect of health. So things from our stress response system to our nervous system and our mental health, of course, nutrition, movement, strength training, balance, muscle health. I love talking about sleep and recovery, cognition, brain health. Also, the importance of our social connections, our environment, our indoor and our outdoor, and certain medical conditions, so focused topics on that. And then also, bringing in some conversations on how to advocate for yourself and navigate our complex healthcare system. So from time to time, I'll also have Ask Me Anything episodes where I will answer your questions as a listener, so you can submit ahead of time. Other types of episodes to expect are our community wellness voices. So in these guest episodes, we'll highlight people in the community who are doing meaningful work that really supports the well-being of others. So this might look like people working in schools, our local farms, community organizations, our libraries, our arts programs, and other initiatives that bring people together and support wellness at the community level. And the third type of episode we're going to be doing is called Health Insights, where I'll invite guests on to share their expertise in specific areas of health, to come on and share their knowledge. And so these could be conversations with other healthcare practitioners and wellness providers, nurses, doctors, physical therapists, dietitians, mental health providers. Really excited to bring on some guests for you to learn from and soak up everything that they have to offer. So my real hope really is that the show becomes a place where we can explore health in a really thoughtful and practical way. Not through extremes or quick fixes, but through understanding the many factors that shape how we feel and how we function. So really remembering that our health is shaped not by these big decisions sometimes, but by these small things that we're doing every day. And when we begin to understand these influences, we can start making changes that truly support our well-being over time. I'm really excited to begin this journey with you, and I look forward to sharing many more conversations about health and wellness in the episodes ahead. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. Remember that wellness is built through everyday choices, both big and small. I'll see you next time on Everyday Wellness with Nurse Bev. The information shared in this episode is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Listening to this program does not establish a provider-patient relationship. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your medications, supplements, diet, exercise routine, or treatment plan. Do you have a topic you would like me to cover or want to submit a question for the Ask Me Anything episodes? Email nursebevpodcast@gmail.com.